How are you? TGIF. Listen, this was a week. I'm glad I made it. I'm glad you're here. Welcome to Conversations with Chike Evans. I am Chike Evans, and today I will be talking to Alexandra Cutler-Fetkewicz, and she will be joining us shortly. She is an awesome musician. She's a violinist. She's also known as Strings Diva on Instagram. Check her out. And she's also a CEO. That means she's smart. She's a businesswoman. And she's also the president of the Philadelphia chapter of the Recording Academy. She just came into the room. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's all right. And you pray, treating people like human beings. Hey.
Oh, hi. Am I too close? I think I'm a little close. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks. Thanks for
I'm
having
glad
me.
to finally have you on here. Just full disclosure, we were hanging out, watching Rufus Black Showcase in Philadelphia, and it's a great show. A lot of new talent, a lot of new artists, and I noticed you because of how you were dressed. And I bring that up because when I saw you, I said, she's someone.
I
Don't know
appreciate
who you
that.
were, but I felt like you were someone. And it just goes to show in the space that we were in, where professionals like yourself, and there were others there, who have come together to help facilitate artists and find their way to where they want to go. And part of that is presenting yourself.
100%.
And you presented yourself very well, enough for me to say, hey, I want to talk to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. The feeling was mutual. I thought to myself, hey, I want to talk to them. I talk to that guy.
I appreciate it.
I agree. The presentation is the first impression we make, I guess, for most people.
Yeah.
Even those of us that look past the cover of any book, it's still something that, especially in the music industry, there is also merit in how we choose to express ourselves. And that our clothing is part of that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, would you consider yourself a Renaissance woman?
No, I don't think I would. But
No.
I mean, that's a daunting comment. There are other people in my life, my business partner, my mother, people who I do call Renaissance women, who I am stunned by. But I wouldn't necessarily call myself that. I do a lot of things, though. I do a lot of things, and I take on a lot of big dreams and try to make them come true. So
Yeah. So let's talk about those things. Tell me about yourself. What do you do?
well, like most people who have been working in the music industry a long time, I wear a lot of hats, and I consider myself a, sort of multifaceted artist in a lot of different ways. I, at my core, am a classically trained violinist, as well as a classically trained or conservatory trained a composer, arranger, all of the things that I do. Other than play the violin, those also came from my conservatory training, and as well as some of the business acumen I learned along the way. But I come from a long line of entrepreneurs and people who were phoenixes, who rose from very difficult and humble circumstances to have great success and comfort in their lives. And I've had many of those examples around me growing up. So I guess, to see that happen or to try to make that happen in my own life doesn't seem like that much of a renaissance per se, But yeah, so I play the violin, I arrange and I write and record for other recording artists. I am the CEO and co-founder of Philly Music Lab, which is a contracting company that specializes in giving a platform to musicians and artists and professionals in the industry who are doing interesting things, genre bending things, making original music, who have big dreams that they would like to execute or projects they would like to produce that they don't know sort of where to find the right resources to do that. And we also do a level of professional development in a lot of those kinds of instances where we're helping artists, let's say with their first EP or their first album or their, connections to certain things. So in my work in Philly Music Lab, we've done everything from bi-monthly networking happy hours, which some of the people who see me on this call may have actually attended, where we would blend two genres of music together, expose each other's audiences to, expose two different musicians' audiences to each other, and create a network and platform for high-level performance for those artists. And in more recent times, since COVID, we weren't getting together like that. So we kind of shifted our focus to more production-based things. So producing albums, we produced the first ever Philly Jewish Music Festival 2 months ago, which was amazing and an incredible, way to create a joyful cultural experience for many, many people. And so we've kind of taken on these bigger projects. And I've always been someone that other people came to and say like, oh, I have this dream, but it's so ridiculous. And then I just say, oh, tell me what it is. And they tell me what it is. And then I say, oh, I can help you make that happen. And even if I have no idea how to make that happen, I'm going to try. Yeah. And in doing that, it's led me to a lot of service in my professional life. I've served on orchestra committees for the orchestras that I play with, and sort of fought for musicians' rights. I've advocated for local musicians to join our union, local AFM 77-274. I've also become, as you know, a board governor and then a vice president and now president of our esteemed and long-standing chapter of the Recording Academy here in Philadelphia, which, as you probably know, encompasses a wide area of our area. It's all of Pennsylvania, all of South Jersey, and all of Delaware, where I serve in as much of a dedicated capacity as I possibly can, in collaboration with some incredible local musicians and artists and music professionals, to help our local music community and the music community at large. So you and I met in the capacity of me trying to help members of our chapter, and show support for what they're doing, and showing up for each other is where all of our humanity begins, I think. So music is a good connector for that. And I thrive on a lot of that connection.
Yeah. And not to sound crass, but one of the things that I love about you is that you're not a music snob. Although you have all of that training and you have all of that knowledge and wherewithal, you appreciate all music.
Absolutely. I was raised in an environment where a lot of different music was played for me and shown to me and taught to me. And I feel like I got to love all kinds of different things and be exposed to all different kinds of things. And then the knowledge and the expertise that I gained by, frankly, giving up many, many, many hours to practicing and to honing my craft and to continuously doing that throughout my life. That gave me the skills to be able to interpret any kind of music and to figure out and to research and to grasp both musically and emotionally the idiomatic expressions of those different kinds of music. I've always felt like I was kind of in this box of classical music where if I showed that kind of love and appreciation for different genres of music, there was a lot of disdain for that, depending on the environment and the people. And I never really accepted that. I just kind of felt sad for the people who couldn't appreciate it, and hope that one day their minds and hearts are open to the depth and breadth of the music on this planet, which if you don't know about Radio Garden, all of you out there in internet land, if you don't know Radio Garden, just go on there. It's a free website where you can quite literally circle the globe and hone in on any city on planet Earth and
Wow.
listen to a radio station there. And when I tell you, I've learned so much about the world from listening to this stuff. You know, you kind of like, what do people listen to? What do people love? What do they like? You know, it's fascinating. So to me, my musicianship grows if I'm able to experience those things, and I'm able to connect with people from any other place on earth and talk to them and learn from them and try to make music with them. You know, music is obviously a universal language for every human being on earth, not just musicians, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important for us to try to find ways to connect with that in any way we each can, you know, as individuals.
Yeah. My urge for people is to, if you have the ability to, learn a little bit more about music, at least music theory, because if you do, you'll appreciate all of the songs that you love even more when you understand why you love them.
Absolutely. I mean, it can be an arduous process
Yeah.
for people, but it's really worth having an understanding of the building blocks of that language. And it really is just like learning any other language. And if you thought you'd enjoy learning another language, you probably would enjoy learning how to read and write music, and and it doesn't mean that you have to become an arranger or a composer, or that you're, excuse me, going to learn how to improvise or anything like that. But, you know, and those things are a big part of my musicianship, but they're not a big part of everyone's musicianship. And they don't have to be for a person to feel fulfilled musically. But I think that even people who have no background in music can benefit from that process. It's great for our brains. It's great for our nervous system. It's great for, you know, all different kinds of things. So I encourage people, and you are never, ever, ever too old to learn an instrument. That is a myth that somebody told you to discourage you from making terrible sounds until you find the right instrument. And if you made terrible sounds and you were like, oh man, I that clarinet was like a disaster, and I
That
was
was my
banned from.
instrument.
I don't know how I knew that, but I just felt with clarinet vibes. I don't know. Sorry.
It's all
I
right.
do, after this many years, have a knack of kind of predicting what kind of instrument personalities are a thing, you know.
Yeah,
But I am not your typical. I am like the mystique version of the smoke and mirrors version of a violinist. I'm not the typical one. So
was the violin your first instrument?
it was. I think I remember asking to play the harp, and I was told it was too big and cumbersome. Correct, on both accounts. But beautiful instrument. It took lessons.
Yeah, very.
I was like, I'll do my own thing. No, but yeah, I wanted to learn an instrument. Violin was it.
Okay.
And it
And
was
do you
full
play any other?
bore
Do you
from day
play any
one.
other instruments?
Yeah, when I started learning some, you know, piano, and I took piano, all kinds of different instruments when I was in college. I played piano, guitar, I learned trumpet, I learned harp, I learned voice. I still sing, and I do a lot of that on my own, on records that I produce and work on. Yeah, I try to learn as many different instruments as I can. I played in a Balinese gamelan, which is a folkloric ensemble, public ensemble of Indonesia and Bali. And it's a percussion ensemble of instruments made from wood and metal and bamboo. And I played gongs. I played a number of different instruments, but I played like 4 gongs at once, you know. So I love playing percussion. In the last production that I just got done with, performing at the Walnut Street Theater, which is, by the way, the United States' oldest continuously open theater. They're like, join us next year for our 218th season. You know, like it just rattles off the tongue. And so I was playing a show, a musical there on violin called 1776. They said, oh, we need someone to play this auxiliary percussion instrument called vibroslab. Can you play this? So I said, yes, of course. So anytime anyone needs me for auxiliary percussion, you know, or random BGVs, I'm your girl.
Do you like performing live?
I do. Yeah, I've
What
been
do
doing it
you
since I
get
was
from?
tiny.
Because everybody's different. What do you get from performing live?
The biggest thing is the exchange of energy with the audience. You experience that before you experience it as soon as you walk on the stage. Like when I have the great opportunity to play with the incredible Philly Pops, I know how excited that audience can feel at different times. For example, it's just one that comes to mind, like, where we're playing in a larger theater, and the energy of the audience is palpable on stage immediately when you walk on stage. It is, you feel it. You feel it. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a spiritual experience almost,
Yeah.
And you start to go also into, in any performance, even if there's one person in the room, you go into sort of this zone of performance that I think also athletes experience, or people who have to give like big important speeches maybe, where you're really, your brain is really hyper focusing on what you have to do, on the errors you might have made during rehearsal, and where you're going to correct the errors in real time, ahead of time, before you play them, which is part of how my particularly, strange mind works. And, the things that you have to execute, and so you're in the zone, you're feeling the energy from the audience. And then what you get from it is this feeling of just exuberant joy and hope. You feel their hope. You feel their sadness. You feel like so much exchange of cathartic energy between you and them, if you allow yourself to. But I will say that a lot of people don't allow themselves to, because it can be so overwhelming that you get physically overwhelmed. And so there's a fine line between carrying yourself in the zone and executing what you have to execute, and sharing enough emotion of yourself and energy with the audience that you're really able to emote with them.
Yeah.
And when you are playing particularly sad music, or music that touches people in a particular way, could be anything. Could be I'll Be Home for Christmas. Like legit, people are crying in the audience because they have like soldier sons and daughters out of the, whatever it is, they're missing someone. We could all identify with that. So you could you could let something that you play 50 times in a row carry you away a little bit emotionally. When I played Hamilton, I got to substitute as concertmaster here, like before, in the before times, as I like to say, before COVID, right before. And there was a number every night that I cried, every single night, whether I was listening or playing. It's just, some things just kind of hit you, and you are, the reason that you are also a successful musician in some ways is because you're able to tap into that emotion and express it through not speaking, not dancing, not whatever, but through this box of wood.
Right.
Weird, right?
It's all spiritual. It's all spiritual.
Yeah. And it is vibrational, because we are making, these kind of unified vibrations that are a big experience for the audience too,
Yeah. And I heard that thing of audio therapy is getting bigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really actually extremely exciting to see the world, in the Western world, finally catching on to some of that, because the Eastern world has used vibrational therapies and sound therapies for thousands of years. Not just gongs in the sense of like using them with the intent of healing, but that they were part of natural life, like they were naturally part of life. And so, playing those instruments that help to calm your nervous system, or, encourage your body to be healthy in different ways, or calm your mind, or any of those things, kind of systematically got removed from Western society. Like all of the churches with bells even were taken away. Like very few of them are still around. There's all kinds of different things that I think human beings used to more naturally experience, that we don't anymore. And you cannot get that from this little screen. And what you're finding now, though, is that there are recording artists who are coming up with ways to duplicate the experience of an immersive sound, so that people who consume their sound only on a phone can get that. There are all these binaural beats that you can listen to that are really, that have specific sound waves and frequencies that are meant for specific things. And there's also some research now that's going into how these therapies, in terms of their use in music, are helping neurodivergent children and adults who have autism and ADHD and other types of neurodiversities. That's something that's very close to my heart, and also my experience. And sensory issues are something that not only that are taken very seriously within the Recording Academy and how we all consume and present sound, but people are interested now in how to use sound for more therapeutic ways, in ways that lots of people might want to consume. So in other words, we make a record, everybody loves it, and guess what? It's also providing, these people who have a feeling of overwhelmed with calm. It's also providing, you and your nervous system with some sort of benefit, and I think there's something real and wonderful about that. And there's a lot of people who I know who are creating music in two different spaces: the children's music space and the space of immersive audio, which is a mixing and mastering platform that I won't go into now. It's very kind of a complicated thing, but it is a way of creating music and dividing the sounds that you've created in whether it's like the guitar, the bass, the drums, whatever, and spreading them out through all of these different speakers and monitors, so that the experience of listening to it is not just directionally intentional and very different from listening to something in what we call a stereo mix, which is on two monitors in front of you, even if they're surround sound. But surround sound is sort of the beginnings of what I'm talking about. So immersive audio is amazing, and there are a lot of people working in that space who are concerned and interested in sound therapies and how they translate into popular music.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I might want to introduce you to my friend Faith Evans, if you haven't met her already.
I would love to meet Faith Evans. I know who she is. If it's the Faith Evans that I think I know, I would be honored to meet her. Absolutely.
Because she's in the space of autism awareness now, and she has an organization because she has a child that's autistic. So that's where she's working, in that space.
I would love to connect with her. Part of my role in the Recording Academy is also as our Dream Ambassador, which is diversity reimagined, engaging all music makers, and how we engage people with autism and other sensory processing differences is really at the front of my passion and of my mind, and of something that, like for example, when we did the music festival a few months ago, I created a sensory tent where if you were feeling overwhelmed or your child was feeling overwhelmed, I created an entirely immersive experience for them to be able to be completely separated from the event, from the light, from the sounds, from the experience as a whole. And I put a lot of time and energy and thought into what should be in there. What is the experience that those of us who get overwhelmed by lights or sounds, or whose children do, what do they need, or what do they not need, most importantly sometimes. And it was something that several people wound up using, that they said was really beneficial for their family because it was a long day and it's a lot of exposure to light and sound. Every concert that any of us go to should be accessible for everyone. Exactly. It should be accessible to people who are hearing impaired or visually impaired. It should be accessible fully to you if you are in a wheelchair or any type of mobility device. It should be accessible in terms of the distance you have to go with that mobility device. It should be accessible in terms of your brain and how your brain processes the experience, to your dietary needs. Like, accessibility is for everybody, because I bet one of the people out there watching this has depression or anxiety or a chronic issue or a bad back, or fell off their bike and broke their arm. Any of those are what we would consider a disability. And some, are temporary and some are not. Right. But you should be able to access what everyone can access no matter what. And it's something that's very important to me. So please, the introduction is honored and welcome anytime.
Yes, absolutely. What are you currently working on right now?
Oh, that's fun. Always a fun question. Let's see. I'm actually getting ready to wrap up producing a rock EP. Yeah. So I am, producing it for someone who actually was one of my partners in the music festival production. And he was the person who brought his idea and his dream to us at Philly Music Lab. And I opened my big mouth and said, sure, I'll produce a music festival. And then he said, hey, what about producing my EP? And I said, oh, sure, I'll do that too. And then we got a little tied up in the last 4 years. But no, so we just cut up all of the records over the course of the first part of this year. And we have a few more finishing touches. And then I also, one of my, co-producers is also a governor on our board, the incredible Jake Borelli. So wrapping that up and hopefully getting that out pretty soon. There's a cabaret EP that I also was producing, and hopefully we're going to get that mixed and mastered pretty soon. And, there's a lot of just sort of like upcoming smaller projects, and the one Philly festival in a couple of weeks, which hopefully you could all come out to, is happening. That will be at the 23rd Street Armory. I'm performing 2 short sets, but I would love for you to support this effort of Dave Edwards, this incredible dude who does all of the silent discos and silent DJ parties that you are all familiar with, I'm sure. So 23rd Street Armory, the 15th of August, all day, 10 different genres of music. 70% of them are local artists. It's me with a quartet, a total string quartet and a singer. So it'll be an interesting performance and something for everybody. But that's just another little thing coming up that's going to be really, really fun. And hopefully you'll see this festival reappear very soon, again and again and again.
Can we get tickets now?
You can. Yep.
Okay.
So I will make sure that you have a link and you can post that.
Okay.
Yeah, one Philly festival. We were supposed to have it, and then one of those many torrential tornado-like downfalls came through, and we had to move it. So August 15th is the new date. Okay. And I don't know if you tuned into the Major League Baseball All-Star game, but I was a little fuzzy dot on the screen when Jennifer Hudson and the great Patti LaBelle were performing. Upcoming things, that was with Philly Pops and some wonderful women from the Philly Pops. So upcoming things are some other shows with them. Then the orchestra season will start in September and October. And so it's off to the races with some other performances then.
You're a busy lady.
Yeah, there's like a lot of juggling going on. And I'm also a mom to a 6-year-old, and that's a whole full-time job by itself, in case anybody's wondering. Even if you have lots of help and a really great partner, it's still like,
Where do you get the energy? How do you sustain yourself? What's your like if you can, your self-care?
Yeah, so I think you got to move your body around. You have to move your body, even when you feel like you can't and you shouldn't and you don't want to. Mm-hmm. I try to get regular massages, and I try to actually do a lot of that, kind of stuff where I'm listening to sounds and focusing my energy on things that are calming. I would highly recommend that you scrub your algorithm so that it is really only like just dog videos and like dumb stuff. The algorithms are making you sad, people. The algorithms are wrong about all of it, and they're like staying off of it as much as possible is actually really good. So unless all you have are like cute dog videos and then obviously conversations with Chike, like you have to have those two threads, at all times. But I recommend that people, like, for me, it helped me with my sleep. It helped me with everything to not be on the phone. Like, don't be on your phone an hour before you go to bed. Just like, shut it down. You don't need it. Yeah. No, you don't. Yeah. Ask yourself when you look at it. I look at it for like 3 seconds and I say to myself, I wait 3 seconds. And if I'm like, I don't need to do this in the 3 seconds, I stop. And it's hard to do that, but the 3-second thing actually works. But I also make sure that I try to sleep. I try to, there's a lot of things. I think it's a whole practice.
Yeah.
I try
It's healthy
to
living.
center myself emotionally and spiritually. I think that helps too. There's a lot to be worried about in the world, and it's important to remind, at least for me to remind myself that what's happening right now around me is what is happening right now around me. And nothing more, nothing less. That's, and the kind of like what ifs are not really always that useful.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So before I let you go, I normally open up this space to my guests to do a manifestation or to put something out in the universe of their choosing. And so this is your time.
Okay, I'm putting it out there that all of the creative ideas that I've had percolating in my mind and in 859,000 voice notes are going to become real, tangible, audible things that people will enjoy. And I am also going to put out there that the work that I will be doing for various artists is going to make our lives better, change our lives, make our lives improve, and the lives of people who listen to the music that we create. And that music will take me to other places where I can experience even more of that and share even more of that.
Amen. I want that for you.
Thank you. Amen.
To tell all of my people, now your people, where they can find you and keep up with you.
Yep, you can find me at Strings Diva here on Instagram. You can, if you really want to type in my long and difficult name, you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with any of you at any time. I am. If you're a member of our local chapter of the Recording Academy, you can find me at any event. And frankly, if any of you need to contact me, please send me a DM here, and I will respond to you. And I love meeting people in our community, not just within the music industry, but beyond. I am interested to know what you do. I'm interested to know how you do it. We learn from each other and we grow from each other, and we lift each other up. So I appreciate you having me on here and giving me an opportunity to talk with you and to get to know you a little bit more, or for you to get to know me a little bit more. And then I guess I should interview you next time. Yeah, so I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming and being a guest and just doing what you do. It's very important.
Thanks, Chika.
Thank you for coming
Thanks
and
for having me.
blessings. And we're going to run into each other. You're going to see me.
Oh, I hope so. I hope I
And,
will see
and
you.
and what I'll do is the information on your business card is the information that I'm going to pass on.
Okay, that's fine. And you can add the
Okay.
Instagram because that's not on there. So
Okay.
you can add the Instagram on there.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Thanks.
Blessings, sister. All
Have a
right.
great night, my brother. Take
You
care.
too.